everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. My name's Dave, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today I'm looking at the Star Wars The Power of the Force, Luke Skywalker and Dagobah fatigues. Now, this particular Luke Skywalker is taken right from Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Now for some fun facts. In the film The Empire Strikes Back, Luke is told by Obi-Wan to go to the planet Dagobah. There he will search for Master Yoda. Now in the film, Luke does in fact find Yoda, but a mystery there is how long was Luke actually on Dagobah training? And in recent months, Pablo Hidalgo himself said that basically some planets, like Dagobah, could be force sensitive. And thus, just like the gravity in the film Interstellar, they could have different time distortion fields around the planet. So for Han and Leia, it could have been a couple days or weeks going to Cloud City, but Luke could have been on Dagobah for months. So what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments below. Now, another fun fact, this figure actually combines with the Yoda figure, and we're going to take a look at both of them together sooner rather than later. And finally, this is the Luke Skywalker I would always play with as a kid. For months, I would just sit around having adventures with this guy, combining it with the Yoda with the backpack. This is awesome. And it stayed my favorite until I got the Jedi Knight version, which that is probably one of my all-time favorite Power of the Force figures. But anywho. For the size of this figure, he stands at 3 3/4 inches tall, which is pretty good, and to scale with the other Power of the Force figures thus far. So you guys know what's up next. We're going to take a quick look at the box, check out the action figure, articulation, the paint, accessories, compare it to some other figures, and then we'll be done. So let's get moving. Alright, quickly having a look at the box. We have a sticker up here for KB Toys, $6.99. I got it a couple dollars cheaper than that. Star Wars Power of the Force, iconic Darth Vader helmet. Pretty cool. Then we have our figure, lightsaber and blaster, looking good. Photo of Luke and Yoda, their name. Pretty nice on the back. We have a nice read-up, so let's get a nice shot of that real quick. And here we have the write-up on Luke Skywalker. If you'd like to pause the video and read it, by all means, go right ahead and continue when you're done. And moving on, we have some vehicles, a lightsaber, some more figures, looking good. A little box damage down here. And believe it or not, I almost got that Falcon in an eBay auction, but I lost it, so kind of sucks. And then down here, we have 1995, Tonka Corporation, Kenner. Pretty cool. So that does it for the box. So now let's take a look at the figure. And here we have Luke Skywalker out of the box, and the nostalgia is there for me. I think this is a great figure for the time period. Very cool, nicely detailed. Now, like always, I like to go over the major sections of the figure or ship. However, there's nothing really to point out here. It's just a tank top, the pants and boots he wears at Bespin, and that's about it. What I will say, though, is the way his legs are set up, he's very front heavy, so he tends to fall. I do recommend a stand, but there is a reason for that. Like I mentioned before, this figure combines with Yoda via backpack, so there is weight back here. So it kind of equals out, and that's pretty cool. So now let's get a close-up look before we start looking at articulation, paint, and accessories. Alright, let's begin our closer look. I guess we'll start with the head, and does it look like Mark Hamill? A little bit if he was juicing. Look at that jawline. It looks just like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Giant pecs, big muscles. You know, Luke's been working out on Dagobah. You know, that's a problem with the Power of the Force line. All the figures in the first couple of waves were all beefed up. It wasn't until later on when I started to make them more film accurate. But it is what it is, and it adds to the charm of these figures. Besides that, though, I think it's very detailed. We have his lips, his nose, his eyes. Everything's there that should be. You can see a little bit of his ear down there. And on this side, his hair is nicely done. Looking good. Now for his shirt. Beautiful design here. I like the line work. Some wrinkles. For a tank top, it's pretty good. Continues. I see a lot of this, where the paint and the plastic don't really work on the seam line. What are you going to do? It's 20-something years old. Then right here on the front of his shirt, more of that nice design there, with some wrinkles and folds. Pretty nice. For his arms, they're all bulked up. You can see some fingernails. Pretty nice. I think that came out great. Some little dust on here. The paintwork is a little messy. It doesn't really match here. But they did their best for the time period. Again, we can see under his armpit. where the paint and the seam line don't really work that well. Moving down, we have Luke Butt. Some wrinkles, his belt's up there. Copyright crap, 1995. Beautiful wrinkles on his pants. I think that came out great. On the sides, we have the same amount of detail. For the front, we have his belt, his crotch section. We can see his pants, all the wrinkles and folds, pretty good. 2 pockets, looking amazing. And then the bottom of his pants are done nicely as well. Pretty cool. And lastly, on the side, I just love all the fabric folds here. Pretty awesome, or wrinkles, if you will. And then finally, let's take a look at his boots, which I do like the design of. Pretty sharp. I think they came out great, to be honest with you. We have the heel here, pretty cool. I like that quite a bit. The other boot is almost exactly the same, just molded differently. Then we have the interior, and the bottoms do have peg holes. And that does it for the mold of Luke Skywalker. In short, I think this is a great Power of the Force figure. Now, are the muscles over-exaggerated? Sure. Does the figure have some faults? Yeah, underneath the arm, as we looked at. But you know what? I still like it. I like the detailing in the face. His clothing is really good. The boots are nice. Peg holes on the bottom. And the little hidden details, like fingernails. Really makes you feel like you're getting a bang for your buck. So having said all that, let's now take a look at the articulation. I'm now checking out that articulation on Luke Skywalker. He has 6 points of articulation. His head can spin all the way around. His arms can spin all the way around. He has a swivel at the waist, which can spin all the way around. Then for his legs, they can move about that far up, forward, and about that far back. All in all, for the time period, a cool action figure. So that does it for the mold and articulation. So now let's take a quick look at the paint. And now looking at the paint on Luke Skywalker, this action figure features 8 different colors. Let's begin with his head. We have a nice tan for his hair and eyebrows. Cool color choice. Then for his eyes, we have blue and white. Let's get a close-up of that. And as you can see, his eyes are pretty nicely done. I think they came out great. And moving on, we have a nice skin tone, which is tan for his face, neck, shoulders, and armpits, and arms. Looking good. For his shirt, we have a nice tan color mixed with a dark brown. And that's awesome because it looks like it's airbrushed. Pretty interesting. I like that. For his pants, I would say it's a very, very dark tan or a light brown. And it does have a little bit of that dark brown on there for the airbrush in the front. Then we have dark brown for his boots. Even the bottoms are painted, which is nice. All in all, a nicely painted figure. I do love the shading on here. Pretty sharp. And that does it for the mold, articulation, and the paint. So now let's quickly go over Luke Skywalker's accessories before we compare him to some other action figures. And for Luke's first accessory, he comes with a nice blaster. Now we saw the same blaster with 9 nub, but it's cool nonetheless. Nicely done grip, main body, scope, muzzle. I like this quite a bit. I think it came out good. And to get that blaster in his hand, just slide it in like so. And just like that, you're good to go. Up next, we have Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. As we can see, it is molded pretty nice. Does have some paint wear. Came out of the box like that. But I like it. It's painted a beautiful silver. Looking good. Then for the blade, we have a translucent blue. Pretty cool. And for his lightsaber, I slide it into his right hand. And there you go. Pretty awesome. And that does it for Luke Skywalker's accessories. I have to admit, I'm really digging the lightsaber, and the blaster's not bad as well. So now that we covered both of those items, let's compare this to some other action figures. And now for a quick size comparison with Luke Skywalker seen in the center. On the right hand side, we have C-3PO and R2-D2. And on the left-hand side, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi, and of course, my main man, 9nub. And if you would like to see reviews on these other Power of the Force figures, look in the links in the description below. And for an added bonus size comparison with the Power of the Force Luke seen on our right, on the left-hand side, we have the Star Wars Black Series 6-inch Bespin Luke Skywalker. So Hasbro, as of February 2019, has not given us a Dagobah Luke Skywalker as of yet. In my opinion, they should, and not only should it just be Luke, but come on, make it a 2-pack, put Yoda in there with a backpack, that would be sick. And that does it for my review today of the Star Wars The Power of the Force Luke Skywalker and Dagobah fatigues. 20 some odd years later, having this back in my collection, having it in hand, it's bringing back all my fun memories as a kid, playing at the park, playing in my backyard, or even laying on the living room floor with this guy, having my own adventures with Luke Skywalker. I loved it as a kid, and I could totally see why. First of all, the mold isn't that bad at all. His facial features are good, the hair is detailed, and my favorite part of the figure is the detailed clothing. And he has peg holes, so he could fit on stands like I have him on right now, or other stuff that can go with the Power of the Force line. Moving on, the articulation's good too. We saw it already with Nine Nub and Obi-Wan, and it works. I also think the paint's very good. I love all the choices they made, and I think it really captures the Dagobah train and Luke that we saw in the film. And finally, we can't forget about the accessories. The iconic blue-bladed lightsaber, originally owned by Anakin, and the blaster. Very nice choices to come with this figure. And before we end, like I mentioned a couple times, this figure does combine with the Power of the Force Yoda, and that will be in my next video, so make sure you catch that. So that's everything I have to say about this 1995 action figure today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, hit that like button. And if you'd like to see new reviews every Thursday, subscribe. Again, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye, everybody.